Good morning. It's Vijay here. Today is Wednesday, 17 December 2025. Welcome to yet another episode of Pre-Market Commentary. Today I'm going to talk about an important topic about trust deficit. Now, what is trust deficit, especially when it comes to sovereignty? In any relationship, if you don't trust each other, then relationship tends to rupture and maybe finally break if the trust deficit is very high. I remember where in my college days, I used to listen to the great Nani Palkiwala, who used to say that India is not regarded well globally because of this trust deficit. That is, Indian policies are very, they are not logical. They are very whimsical and dependent on the ruling party in power or the prime minister who is ruling at that point of time. So there are many instances in the past, especially prior to 90s, where our policy is very, very haphazard. But subsequently, since 90s, after the liberalization, our policies have been generally in one particular direction. However, we have had locally some policies which have been under question. For instance, demonetization. The trust deficit there is the RBI says that they will pay you the money which is written on the piece of paper, but suddenly that value of that money vanishes. Similarly, we are talking of how we handle relationships. And now our prime minister is desperately doing something to, bring back the trust deficit and reduce the trust deficit. But invariably, some things are happening which are the cause of concern. However, it depends all on how you look at it. It is not political; it is more from the sovereignty. Or even if you look at it right from the corporate level, recently we had the Indigo fiasco. Now the trust deficit there is Indigo did something which they should not have done because they did not follow the government orders. Or you take the AQI problem in Delhi. The government there is not doing enough and people are struggling. Now, as far as the economics are concerned, if you look at the World Bank and IMF, they don't trust Indian data because they feel it is very much different from what is happening on the ground. Now, we have to rectify it, otherwise, we won't get, foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment into India. For instance, we all thought that, generally it was believed by foreigners and Indians that the rupee will have a general gradual depreciation or not exactly a devaluation, but a depreciation of about 3 to 5%, which is the average. We held on to the rupee under the previous governor at a particular level between 83 and 84. We held it for nearly 2.5 years when things were not really hunky dory. Now, subsequently, the new governor has come and has gone the other way. He says, I will not intervene. Now, they were intervening till about a month ago. Suddenly, they've stopped intervening. Now, if we thought 90 will be some unachievable task for the target for the rupee, it crossed 90. We thought it's an aberration. So sooner or later, it'll come below 90. But now you see, yesterday it's gone to 91, and there are a lot of memes saying India international code is 91, so rupee is at 91. Now, this is no laughing matter or this is no meme matter, because what happens is globally investors will look at it and say, if it is from 90, it has gone to 91. When they held it at 83, 84, which was artificial, then they let it go. Hopefully, we thought 90 will be 89, 90 will be the new, normal. But now you're saying 91 is okay with us because RBI has not done anything about it. So who is there to guard the rupees fall? People now talk of 100. People talk of anything. I mean, it is not, that's what happened in 2013. In 2013, rupee lost 27% within 3 months. So now we have to worry that if the finance ministry, RBI, do not come in support of the rupee in some manner, or at least assuage the investors that this is a gradual decline and we will be watching it carefully. But that confidence is not there now. Slowly and steadily, it is eroding, which is a very, very dangerous thing. And that is why you are seeing the foreigners not investing in India, even though on the face of it, our inflation is low, GDP is high. No country I know of in the world, in my understanding for the last 35 years, has seen a low inflation, a high GDP growth, and a poor currency or a weakening currency. India is the first. Unfortunately, this is not a good thing to happen. We need to keep this in mind when we are actually buying and selling shares. That is why I think not only FIs are selling, but also the local promoters are selling The third force is selling. So that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday, Nifty fell for a second straight session. It was dragged by Axis Bank, they say, but across the board, there was no confidence. Bank also, Nifty Bank also snapped a 3-day rally, and then PNB also came down. And the mid cap, small cap, micro cap, all of them are falling steadily, which nobody is putting their mind there. But most of the investors have those kind of stocks. So you look at what happened to FIS selling yesterday. FIS sold 2,400 crores. DIS bought only 1,000 crores. Why? I suspect DIS do not have enough money to fight against the FIS, or they're holding this money back for some other big IPOs or FPOs, which is waste of money. As I mentioned yesterday, Swiggy did a QIP of 10,000 crores. Now that is going to be that money is being put in a loss-making company. So when the promoters begin to sell, or they bring in QIP and the mutual funds begin to buy, hard-earned money of the retail investor is going waste. Unfortunately, there is nobody to question them. But we have to be aware and we have to take action accordingly. Now, even in US, for instance, the markets are not doing too well. The Dow Jones fell 300 points. Nasdaq went up by about some 35 points. But generally, there is a fear because this weekend we have the BOJ meeting, and people are assuming that yen will strengthen, and therefore carry trade will get into trouble, and dollar will weaken. So there is some sort of fear among the minds of people. So even after yesterday's movement, I am also wanting to be very cautious for the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, because it's on Thursday, Friday there. We will know exactly what is going to happen there, excepting metals and to some extent PSU banks and some pharma and some odd stocks like Reliance. Generally, the market is under a threat of further selling for every rally. Brent, on the other hand, which is very good for India in terms of the pricing, it has crashed. It is now below $59, which is very good. I was thinking it will come to $55 as the base. It is slowly coming there, but it should finally come there, and then maybe it will go up because a commodity boom is happening across the board. Metals are going up, and therefore Brent also should be going up. Dollar index, as I said, is weakened below 98. Gold is steady, while silver has made an all-time high as we speak. Now, if you look at what stocks may be in focus today, on the positive side, NLC has Neyveli Lignite has subsidiary has signed a PPA with SJVN for 200 megawatt wind project. Glenmark subsidiary has got a licensing deal for cancer drug. Saregama is investing about 235 crores in Bansali Productions. Protean Egon is acquiring a 4.95% stake in NSDL Payments Bank. Then there is Lupin, which has got a US FDA EIR with satisfactory VIA status for Nagpur injectable facility, and that is positive. NBCC wins new work orders worth about 345 crore. That also is positive. Now, all of a sudden, yesterday evening, the Indian government decided to sell up to 3% stake in through OAFS in Indian Overseas Bank. So a lot of money will go there. Indian Overseas Bank is not one of the best banks, but then mutual funds will buy that. And so whatever money they want to put in good banks like Canara Bank or SBI, that will be diverted to Indian Overseas Bank. Ola Electric is under pressure. Now, the promoter had pledged shares, and that to repay 260 crore loan, he has now sold in the open market, and that is something which we have to worry, because from 150 and odd levels, it has now come to some 34. I don't know, it's come below 40 rupees, and they're not doing well. And the promoters pledged a lot of shares. So as we goes lower, the financiers will ask him to sell more and more shares. So that is stock to be watched. Generally, I am getting more and more concerned that the bullish argument for India or to invest in India is going further and further unless the government decides to do something quickly. The government and the RBI in consultation do something. Otherwise, unfortunately, 27,000, which we were thinking at one point of time will come, looks a distant dream. So we are cautious. We are bullish on metals. We are bullish on precious metals. We think that is a place to be. But whatever you do, I hope it is successful. Thank you for joining me.